Today we'll be discussing the Pike River coal mine disaster in which 29 workers were killed. The discourse around the mine was one of success in terms of safety and environment, yet the post-disaster, the discourse quickly shifted to a disaster waiting to happen. The central question is, why did so many individuals remain silent over the lethal working conditions prior to a major mining disaster? A few of the factors that contributed, if not caused the explosion, was high ratio of inexperienced to experienced miners and the presence of overseas miners unused to New Zealand mining conditions. Common worker practices of bypassing safety devices on mining machineries, so work could continue regardless of the presence of methane. There were also reports of other conduct and incidences caused by inexperience, inadequate training, and failures to follow procedures. For this mediation, Von is assuming the role of the PRCM worker, the employee, and Harawai is assuming the HR manager role, and I am going to be the mediator. My name is Johnny. It's nice to meet you, Von. My role as a mediator is to act as a third party to ultimately work with both you and Harawai to come up with a successful solution. Before we start, we just want to go over some ground rules with you. The first rule is no name calling or put down, so when we go into the mediation, none of that. Let the other person speak with you, without interrupting, and full cooperation and communication with me and Harawai as well. Please review the agreement to mediate. I've given you, and if okay, please sign. The agreement to mediate provides all of what I'll be sharing with you in this morning, as well as your agreement that this mediation is voluntary and you want to come to a resolution of this conflict that you're having. Do you agree to the ground rules that I've set aside?
Yep. Okay.
Cool. Any information disclosed during this mediation process by a party to me will be in private and treated in a confidential manner, unless the party making the disclosure states otherwise. If in the course of the mediation I become unaware or aware of any circumstances that might reasonably be considered to affect my capacity to act impartially, I will cease to act as a mediator, unless situations permits me to inform both parties of those circumstances and you mutually agree that I can continue. Now that we have the privacy policy out of the way, would you like to share your issue with me, Von?
The issue I would like to discuss is in regards to the warning signs made about the increase in methane gas inside the mine, which was discussed amongst my co-workers and the supervisor. I also opposed the decision made by the company to place the ventilation gas underground, which was a bit of an unusual place for it to be placed. I believe that it wasn't a good idea because it may cause an increase in circulation of methane gas within the mine. So to my understanding, these issues were reported to the board. However, nothing was done to preventable measures to reassess the risk of an explosion due to the gas increase. We knew it was dangerous for us to continue working in the mine because we couldn't control our breathing. This to us was the sign that the level of methane gas increased as oxygen levels declined. I fear for my safety, and I have a family who depends on me to take care of them. If I die, who will look after them? So this is a health and safety hazard, and it should be monitored closely.
Right.
Yeah, so
Okay.
That's my issue.
Thanks for sharing with me. So the way I see it, you've noticed warning signs about increasing methane gas inside the mines, and that you're also opposed to the decision of placing the ventilation fan underground as you see it as unusual. You've also reported these issues to the board, but to no luck, nothing was done for preventable measures to reassess the risk of the explosion or an explosion. You also fear for your safety because you care about your family who depend on you to take care of them. And you also just really want this problem solved because it's a health and safety hazard. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Moving forward, next time I will see you will be the mediation with you at Harawai.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Johnny. It's nice to meet you, Harawai. So my role as a mediator is to act as a third party to ultimately work with both parties, so that's you and Von, to come up with a successful solution. Before we start, we need to go over some ground rules with you. The ground rules are no name calling or put downs, let the other person speak without interrupting, full cooperation and communication, and these are the rules just to follow when we come together, all together for that mediation. Please review the agreement to mediate I've given you, and if okay, please sign. The agreement to mediate provides all of what I'll be sharing with you in this morning, as well as your agreement that this mediation is voluntary and you want to come to a resolution of this conflict. Do you agree to these ground rules?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. Any information disclosed during this mediation process by a party to me will be in private and treated in a confidential manner, unless the party making the disclosure states otherwise. If in the course of the mediation I become aware of any circumstances that might be reasonably be considered to affect my capacity to act impartially, I will cease to act as a mediator unless situation permits me to inform both parties of those circumstances and you mutually agree that I can continue. Now that we have the privacy policy out of the way, would you like to share your story with me?
I do not understand why Ron is asking for mediation. I've heard that her issue was taken to the board but hasn't been sent to me directly. To my understanding, we have placed methane gas sensors inside the mines so that whoever oversaw the safety systems would have known the amount of methane that are in the mines for the safety of the workers. The ventilation system has been checked with health and safety measures, and it is supposed to be a great investment for the company. Reflecting now, I see that the safety systems reps have really gotten in contact with me about such issues. I have a really busy schedule, so this mediation process is taking a lot of my time.
So just so we're on the same page, the way I see it, you're not sure why you're doing this mediation and why Von took this issue to the board and not directly to you. You believe that the safety protocols that you have at the moment are up to standard, the ventilation systems have been checked with health and safety measures, and it's a great investment in your company. Your health and safety reps have also rarely gotten in contact with you about any issues as of yet. And then you're also in a time constraint at the moment. Is that what you're trying to get across to me?
Yes, basically.
Hi Von, hi Harawai. Thanks for coming in today. You've both agreed to this mediation to convince. The ground rules have been stated to you individually. We will once again go over the privacy policy so there is no confusion. My role as a mediator is to act as a third party to ultimately work with both parties. You and Von have come together to form a successful solution for today. Please review the agreement to mediate I've given you, and if okay, please sign. The agreement to mediate provides all of what I'll be sharing with you this morning, as well as your agreement that this mediation between all of us is voluntary and you want to come to a resolution of the conflict that we're currently experiencing. Could you please sign that? Do you agree?
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. So any information disclosed during this mediation process by a party to me will be in private and treated in a confidential manner, unless the party making the disclosure states otherwise. In the course of this mediation, if I become aware of any circumstances that might reasonably be considered to affect my capacity to be impartial, I will cease to act as a mediator unless situation permits me to inform both parties of those circumstances and you mutually agree that I can continue. So Von, would you like to express your concern with me and Harawai?
Yes, so the issue I would like to discuss is in regards to the warning signs made about the increase in methane gas inside the mine, which was discussed amongst my co-workers and our supervisor. I also oppose the decision made by the company to place the ventilation fans underground, which was a bit of an unusual place for it to be placed. I believe that it wasn't a good idea because it may cause an increase in the circulation of methane gas within the mine. To my understanding, these issues were reported to the board. However, nothing was done to preventable measures to reassess the risk of an explosion due to the gas increase. So we knew it was dangerous to continue working in the mine because we couldn't control our breathing. So that was a sign to us that the methane gas levels were rising as the oxygen levels were declining. We fear for our safety, and I have a family to take care of. So if I die, who will take care of them? So this is a health and safety hazard, and it should be monitored closely. Yeah, that's my issue.
So the way I see it, you've noticed the warning signs about the increasing methane gas inside the mines, and that you're also opposed to the decision of the placing the ventilations underground, as you find that it's quite unusual. You reported that these issues, and you went to the board on this situation, but to no luck, nothing was done for these preventable measures to be placed in case of like a risk of an explosion. You fear for your safety. That's a very huge concern for you because you have a family, and if something were to happen to you, your family wouldn't be able to take care of themselves, and so that's why health and safety is such an important issue with you. That's why you're bringing this. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Harai, would you like to explain your concerns and your issues with us?
Okay, so to my understanding, there is a person that oversees the methane gas sensors, which has been placed inside the mines for the safety of the workers. I get fortnightly reports from the supervisors that informs me about how the sensors are working. Also, the ventilation system was to help workers get fresh air while working in the mines. Both have gone through health and safety measures and continue to monthly, which reports to me. The latest report has shown no signs of health and safety issues.
So, from my understanding, there's a person that oversees the gas.
Sensors.
So, from my understanding, there's a person that oversees the methane gas sensors, which are placed all inside the mines for the safety of the workers. And you get fortnightly reports from these supervisors, and that you're informed about all the health and safety protocols that are happening, and that everything's quite up to date. You're also sure that the ventilation system is working in these mines, and that everything's working on time. And that you've gone through the health and safety measures, because you continuously get the monthly reports. Okay. And that the latest health reports have not shown that there are any health and safety concerns. Okay. So, Von, what do you think the problem is here?
So my biggest concern is the health and safety issues that I've addressed before, regarding the rising in methane gas levels, the ventilation fans. I also have the fear of dying in there because my family will need me, and who's going to look after them if I'm not there for them. I also fear for my own safety as well as my co-workers while working in the mine. So yeah, so that's my biggest issue.
So, Harai, what do you think the problem is in this entire situation?
Well, the first problem I see is that the reports I'm getting is not really what's happening within the mines, and that it's a different story with the workers. So I'm not really getting what the workers are feeling or what is happening within inside the mines. And saying that there's a lack of communication between me and the supervisors for the workers, so they are not telling me the issues that are happening with health and safety inside the mines. I can see that also that as a company, we are not following the health and safety legislation.
Sure. Have you agreed on what the problem is that you both now want to solve?
Yes.
Now, moving forward, what I want to do with you guys today is brainstorm options for solution. So I want you guys to brainstorm at least 2 to 3 solutions each, and at the end of that, that's when we'll use a SMART goal to figure out what solution we can use at the end of the day to fix the problems that you both are mutually concerned with. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Now, moving forward, I want us to create a couple options for solution each. So feel free to just bounce ideas off each other. So does anyone want to start off with their first idea? Von?
One solution I can think of is where the mining operation, other than an underground coal mining operation, was appoint a supervisor for each production shift. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Oh yeah, I think that's really good.
Do you have any solutions that maybe
Just going off that, 2 supervisors, health and safety supervisors should be in the mining operation every day. So basically, in which they should know what is happening within the mines at that time and place, because then it would enable us to know what is happening.
Right, yeah.
I agree.
And is there any other solutions that we could think of from your perspective on?
Another solution I could think of is where a ventilation officer must ensure that the person holds a current certificate of health and safety.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. They should hold the manager should hold health and safety competence, enable to them to operate as a manager down there in the mines.
Yeah, I agree.
Are there any last ones that you have for a while?
No, I think that's it.
Cool. Now moving forward, what I want us to do is brainstorm these 4 solutions that you guys have mentioned, and then figure out what we can actually realistically do, and we'll use the SMART goal just to weed out and filter out one solution for the day, unless we want to do a couple of these solutions. Is there anything else that you wanted to add for a solution?
Maybe another solution could be communication between workers and managers to their supervisors, and then to us as health and safety managers, just so that we are able to know what is happening with the workers and what we could do to improve their health and safety.
So improving communication protocols at the moment. Okay, that's something that's worth doing.
It's a major issue.
Okay, now moving forward, what I want us to do today is apply a SMART goal, which is a framework, and we're going to have to filter out what solution that we've discussed today, what we can actually do, how many of them we can actually do, because I think they're very good at the moment. So using SMART as one of our frameworks, let's look at the first solution that you mentioned, Von, that you think there should be a health and safety supervisor in the mining operation every day. Every time there's a miner and that's working that day. Are there any implications that you think? Is this possible to add into the situation?
Yes, it is possible to have a manager or a mining operator every day inside the mines, and I think it would enable the workers to feel more safer, because they will know the health and safety protocols if something is wrong, and what they could do straight away if something happens.
I agree with that, because like having someone there that has that knowledge of health and safety would ensure that would make us trust that we are well looked after as well. So I guess it's a good idea.
Okay, so I'll move that one forward as a different possibility. The other one that you mentioned was that we mentioned today was in the mining operation, appointing a supervisor for each shift. Was that one that, what do you guys think would? So one of the other solutions that we mentioned today was that when we have a manager on shift for the coal mines, that they have a certificate of competence or a health and safety certificate. Is that something that we can roll into our management, our floor management?
Yes, that is possible. Just it would enable them to get trained, because health and safety changes, the protocols always change. So having trainings every 2 to 3 months would enable them to get that health and safety certificate to be able to be a manager.
And looking at budget-wise, is that definitely possible with the resources that you have at Pike River?
Yes, that would be an investment, I would say, because it would help not only the workers, but us as health and safety managers know that they're in good hands.
Yeah. And just to add on to what she was saying, having that certificate will give us workers the confidence to do well in our work as well. So it's pretty good to do that.
Right. Okay, I'll move that one forward. And also one solution that we identified today was improving our communication channels and our communication relationships between upper staff and lower staff. In what way would you action that? Like, what protocols would you take?
Because we would have managers on shift, they would be able to go around and ask the workers if there is something wrong, and the managers would then report to the supervisors, and then the supervisors to health and safety managers if there is something wrong with health and safety.
So we're probably looking at a better report schemes. Is
More accurate
easier?
too.
Yeah.
And I think getting it firsthand from the workers is the best thing. Like, we may get reports in numbers, but when we have managers being able to talk and get the issues right from the workers will be much better.
And what type of platforms of reporting would we use? Like online, or easy paper?
It would be face to face. I find face to face will be much more easier because then the channel wouldn't be lost or the lack of communication.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on
I
as a
agree
worker?
with that. Yeah, I reckon it's a good idea for us to be able to communicate with managers. That way, the issue does get delivered into the higher level management, and it should be able to like limit the hazards that's going on in the mine. So I reckon it's a really good idea.
Okay. So out of the solutions that we've applied SMART to, I think that what we've settled on is that there should be health and safety supervisors / management when there's mining operations every day. And actually in the mines, there should always be a manager appointed that has a certificate of competence in health and safety. And then the third one was that there should be better communication channels and communication relationships, which we will be looking at different platforms and the way we're going to go about communicating between floor staff, the coal mine workers, and the executive level, and seeing how we can make that more easier. Okay, what I'm going to do now is gather all that information into an agreement, and if you're happy with that, I will get you to sign the next day. So moving forward now, what I've gathered here is a new agreement from the solutions that we talked about earlier today. What I'll get you to do today is sign it, Hawaii, and also Von. Yes, please. Cool. And then here. Cool. And if you guys could happily shake hands and happy with this mediation.